The following program is rated PG and may contain mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
The Super Channel Heart and Home After Show with special guests Barbara Gregusova, Johanna Newmarch, Pascal Hutton, Chris McNally, and now the host of the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show, Elliott Wallach.
We have a terrific show ahead. We've got Pascal Hutton, Johanna Newmarch, Chris McNally. But first, Tiffany Wallach sits down with costume designer Barbara Gregusova to get her take on some of the very specific clothing they used in season 10. Let's take a look.
I'm glad we're nipping this don't say baby game in the bud. You know, I really think those two might be onto something with this clay facial mask, although I don't think they should use the word clay or mask. No, they should call it Hope Springs Healing, Hydrating Mountain Mineral Balm. What do you think? Catchy. With little swirls of water droplets and pine needles coming off the H's. I think I should tell them now.
Why not later?
Good idea.
Rosemary and her maternity clothes. Tell me how you came up with the designs for her maternity clothes. Did you give her some flair, some pregnancy flair, I felt like, right?
Well, we dyed the dresses.
Dyed, okay.
Yeah, so we basically, all the Elizabeth dresses, except of, I think one was dyed. For dyeing, we had to basically dye each part separately because some of the dresses have like the blousey top and then the skirt. So we had to take it apart. We had to dye the skirt separately and then the top separately and then put it back together. And then there is few, I think there was maybe like some V-neck or some detail which we didn't dye because it wouldn't look good, but we dyed like rest of it.
Right.
And then we added lace, I think, for some of it. So we basically fitted all of them on Pascal. When Elizabeth was pregnant, it's a few years back, which meant all the skirts were more wider. So for Rosemary, we were making everything more fitted, just that it works more with the 1920. So everything is more slimmer, even though it's maybe the same dress, but we removed a lot of fabric. So she got 2 new dresses. Funny enough, one of her dresses is actually old Florence dress.
Which one is it?
It's
describe
the green
it.
one. I don't even know which season she wore it. I know she never wore it like from season 3 because I omitted it from Florence's wardrobe because it was just too modern for what we were doing. So, and then when we needed more, dresses for Rosemary, then I was like, oh, this is her color. This could work. Yeah, because she has a new green one and then she has a teal one, which has like a detail on it. And that was actually also a dress which we had in stock. But then it didn't have sleeves. So we had to match the color of the dress for the sleeves. So we were looking in a store for the sleeves. And then the other dresses are all basically repurposed Elizabeth's dresses.
Rosemary, you didn't find a single
Oh, I did. Molly helped me dye it purple.
That was my favorite one.
And now it's one of my favorites.
Oh,
I hope it's okay.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
On the show, you also had another pregnancy to deal with, but this was a real pregnancy. How did you accommodate for Andrea's pregnancy on the show?
So we basically reconstructed the skirts to accommodate her pregnancy, just to make them like stretchy. But also
So her original clothes that she was already wearing,
yes,
you just gave it like an elastic waistband or something.
Well, yeah, at the back.
Yeah.
So you cannot sit in front, but it was adjusted at the back.
Are there any little wardrobe tricks that you do to trick the eye to make it seem like her waist is thinner?
Yes.
There is, okay.
Well, actually, we played with this idea, and it was actually positioning the belts on the vest or like a lace. So to her, like the vest, which is the blue one with the pinstripe, we actually added white lace just to basically make it a little bit like the eye goes different direction.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful because as soon as the belly is growing, it does stop working. Because last time when she was pregnant, we did lots of like capes. Which we didn't do this time.
Yeah.
But one of the capes we actually turned into a vest.
Oh.
So I was really happy about that because it was like, like a little reconstruction project.
Yeah. And again, repurposing and turning it into something else that's, beautiful, I'm sure.
Andrea wears usually like white blouses or like off-white, right? We stick to the whites. or like off-white. Yeah, it's all very specific. She doesn't wear short sleeves. She wears lots of vests, and it's always matchy. So it's almost like our way or take on a suit. And then also for the pregnancy, we basically knew we cannot just use the blouses. It always had to be like a blouse, skirt, and a vest or a coat.
Oh, okay.
So that's why she's the one and only probably wearing coats when nobody else is.
Faith, hurry. The shower started.
I'll put the wagon away for you. And I'll fix the wheel.
Thank you.
Happy to be of service.
Perfect timing. We're about to open presents.
We see you in all your baby glory. Let's talk about having to wear that maternity bump. How was it?
Heavy. It was really heavy. I've been asked so many times if I was happy to get a break from the corset and put the bump on. And the answer is yes. I was so excited going into it. And then once I started wearing that bump, and we were filming in like the thick of summer, it was so hot, and that thing was like this weird latex foam, and it was so heavy, and it was so uncomfortable. I was so happy to be done with it by the end of it. Yeah, it was very hot, very heavy.
So something that they're planning in this episode is the baby shower.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you think Elizabeth does in preparing for the shower?
Well, it's an incredibly thoughtful gesture, not just of Elizabeth's, but of all the women in the town and how they rally around Rosemary. And of course, Rosemary kind of wants to try and take control of it herself. And the only way really to stop her is to surprise her with doing it before she thinks the event is actually happening.
We need to talk about the baby shower. It's next week. And while I'm sure you have many good ideas to be helpful, I made a list of suggested activities that I think might be fun. I mean, not more fun than the activities you already have planned. Just, guaranteed fun.
Right. Right. And I cannot wait to discuss this with you, but look at the time. I'm going to be late for school, so I should really go, and we'll discuss this later.
Well, Elizabeth.
Bye.
I like the way Rosemary says suggested, which means you should implement this.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
Do you think she's nesting, or is this just an expression of Rosemary's personality?
It's just an expression of Rosemary's personality. It would be party planning. She loves it.
Right.
She wants to always be involved in it. And the idea that a party for her, she wouldn't be involved in it is just too much for her to take.
And so do you think this is the reason why they had to make it a surprise?
I
mean,
think
there's just no way.
There's no way. If it was happening and she knew it was happening on a particular date, she would get in there and needle around. And I think Elizabeth really wanted her to kick her feet up and not have to work to put on her own shower.
Rosemary.
So cute. When we were shooting this, I had an idea of how it was going to go. It's lovely that it turned out exactly like I was hoping. That's wonderful.
How much practice did it take?
I have to admit, that was pretty carefully choreographed. You know, we did several rehearsals before we shot that scene with all the clipboards and all the timing and all the, like a British comedy. One door opens and one door closes. Yeah, super fun.
When you're shooting a scene like that, does that estimate, how long does it take to do something like that typically?
You mean from beginning to end shooting the whole scene?
Yeah, like if you're just looking at a little bit of choreography and blocking.
Our show is actually extremely adept at getting a shot done quite quickly. Yeah. So, the directors come in very prepared. They have their shot list. They know how they're going to cover it. So, you shoot a master and then you go in for coverage. And as you can see, everybody was sort of seen all at once with the clipboard. So we actually didn't take too much time to shoot that. So, it only, believe it or not, from beginning to end, probably a couple hours.
Do you meet ahead of time when you have a group scene like that with the ladies? And I know you block it out, but do you talk about what your performance is going to be like?
Unless it's something that's a little different for our characters because we've been doing this for so long. Everybody has a pretty clear sense of who they are and what they're doing. So unless it's something that's quite different, we usually just sort of show up and we talk it through on the day. We rehearse it, and sometimes people throw in ideas. When I was reading this, but if as I say, if it's sort of anything that's sort of within the standard realm of what our characters do, we just do it on the day. Every once in a while there'll be a memo or something about a particular scene if they're thinking about if there's some conflict, or then sometimes we'll talk that through. But it's a well-oiled machine.
Oh, hello. Are you open? Oh, yes, come in.
We're decorating for a party later for our friend.
Oh, what lovely flowers. Wherever did you get them?
Oh, they're wildflowers. We picked them.
Really? How adventurous. I'm jealous. I'm lucky if I can get my gardeners to grow weeds.
That look.
Yeah.
The look.
Right, that sort of like backhanded compliment. What does she really
La-di-da. Okay, yes. Yeah.
The actress who plays Madeline St. John, is that someone you had worked with before? But the community's kind of small in
Vancouver. A lot of us know most of the members. We have a large community, but those of us who've been at it a while definitely are well connected. And I've had the pleasure of meeting her several times, but we've never worked together. Okay. So this was great. Yeah. When she came on set, I was like, hey.
It's like seeing an old friend. Yeah. And probably for her too, because I think when you come onto a show that's so well established, that everybody knows each other so well, and you're an outsider.
For sure.
Yeah, so I'm sure you were a friendly face for her.
I was cognizant of that, yeah. So I hope we made her feel really at home. And Stephanie's a great person and a wonderful addition to the cast. So
in real life, you made her at home. On the show, the character of Molly, maybe not so much.
I think there's a little bit of side eye. Just because, who is this, glamorous new woman?
Yeah.
But Molly, I think Molly's been around long enough that she doesn't hold grudges, and I think she's wise enough to kind of just, if something's going a different direction, then she just goes with the flow. I think she's a wise woman.
How was it playing that role with all the gals, getting all that together?
Well, it's always so much fun. We're joking and giggling, and everybody's so excited about the baby because we all know what a gift this was and how long it was in coming. And that's one of the things our show does well, is people getting together to throw a great party for someone we love.
Well, it was a little bit like Mission Impossible.
Yes.
Putting it together.
Yes, because she's everywhere at all times.
Yes.
So to put one over on Rosemary is not an easy task.
For a mother who is a natural-born performer, think of motherhood as your greatest role.
And we will all be watching and applauding.
That little baby is so lucky. You're gonna be the most wonderful mother.
Oh, I think you start seeing in this episode, there's some glimmers of complicated feelings for Rosemary surrounding her pregnancy and surrounding becoming a mother. And so it's beautiful that the women are really rallying around her. And I don't know if in this episode she's really in a place to totally receive that fully, because she's kind of wrestling with a lot of her own feelings.
Elizabeth, being such a great friend to her, is able to read that. What about their connection is that, she can read between the lines with her?
I think that's how it goes when you are tried and true friends with somebody. You can see it written all over them when they are in their prime and in their glory, and you can also see when they're really vulnerable, and you want to be there for them. And I think especially in contrast to maybe how everyone thought Rosemary was going to be and how Rosemary was going to feel, and that it stands in kind of stark contrast to that. And so Elizabeth's so perceptive. She's a perceptive person in any circumstance, but particularly with somebody she knows and loves as much as Rosemary.
It was better than I could have dreamed. And I know what you did.
You do?
We didn't play any of the games that I suggested, but I think our friends were playing a different game altogether. All those compliments. Rosemary, you're going to be such a wonderful mother. Rosemary, that baby is so lucky. You knew I was nervous. You knew I had my doubts, and you wanted to help me through it.
A big part of motherhood is supporting other mothers.
Well, and isn't that the truth? A big part of motherhood is supporting other mothers. And I feel, there's that saying, it takes a village, and it really does. You lean on the other moms around you to, encourage you, laugh with you, hold you up when you feel like you're gonna like fall apart because you have no sleep or no energy or you're at your wit's end, all those things. And so this is kind of a little peek into that.
How much do you enjoy those sorts of scenes with Aaron?
Oh, I love them. Aaron and I love working together on any type of scene. That type of scene, a comedic scene, any of that. The two of us can tap into that closeness. I mean, it's that thing. We're really close friends in real life, and creatively we work well together, and as friends we work well together, and we have great communication. And that, I mean, it's art imitating life, life imitating art, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it's wonderful.
Do you collaborate when you get a script like this, and you know you're going to have a scene where there's going to be this, you know, connection between the two of you? Do you talk about it ahead of time?
A lot. Aaron and I talk about our scenes a lot, and we kind of, anything that hiccups for us, or we'll be like, oh, let's talk about that. How could we play that? How could you play this line that will make this line make more sense for me? Or how we really work on the scene together a lot, and that all happens before we're even on set. And then when we get to set, usually it's very smooth and easy because we've already had a lot of conversations about the scene and what is trying to be achieved in each scene before we even enter into it. Or if it's a funny scene, we come up with like little funny bits that we think we could add in, or things like that.
Do you come up with ideas for the other person? For instance, like with a funny bit, like, oh, you should do this.
Yeah, and that's a very tricky thing. Like you can't do that just with a new relationship, right. or sometimes not even with any. A certain relationship never gets there creatively, where you can collaborate so easily of giving each other ideas, or go so far as to be like, oh, that one didn't work. I think you need a different choice. But with Aaron and with Kevin, we have that relationship very easily, and we'll just be like, oh, you should say it this way, or what about if you did this and this and this, and we'll give it a try. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think we all know each other's characters so well that, and we only want what's best for the scene, that there's this inherent trust in anybody's suggestions.
Do you go back to the writers and say, here's what we think, or to the director, or is that just something you work out among
It depends.
yourselves?
Like if it involves kind of tweaking lines or finessing certain transitions, that definitely would go through the writers for sure. With the director, he or she usually has an idea of blocking how they want to film it, and then we can usually go, okay, is that going to work with what we're trying to achieve? And often it does, because also our directors now know these characters so well also. Yeah. And then when it doesn't, it just opens up a conversation of going, oh, we came up with this funny bit. How can we work that into the blocking that you want to do in terms of camera angles, lighting, all those sorts of factors that have to play into filming a scene? And so it ends up becoming a bigger collaboration. But sometimes we just do it quietly between the two of us and just put it out there and hope that it sticks.
And do you ever suggest storylines? I mean, has there been a case over the last few seasons where you guys come up with like, oh, this would be great to explore for our characters?
Rosemary being pregnant. That was mine. I had to like fight for that for so many seasons. Okay. Yeah, I think there was a lot of hesitation about bringing another baby onto the show, and what does that look like in terms of logistics of filming, and there had to be a lot of conversations. And then also Rosemary's role on the show has always been like so in everybody's business, and kind of, I won't say a busybody because I don't think that's accurate, but she's been very involved in everything that's been going on in the town. And so there was some concern, rightfully so, of like, how do we tell a story of her becoming a mom without losing that aspect? And so we had to have some conversations about that, and how does that work? But we were able to talk it out, obviously.
It worked.
On the show.
You got your way.
Yeah.
I think too, one thing that I'm looking forward to is you've developed this great relationship with Elizabeth since season 1. I think you came in at the end of season 1. Yep. So it's been all these years, and you didn't like each other in the beginning, and now you're so close, but now we're going to get a sort of a third aspect of the relationship as mothers, right? And how do you see that relationship growing?
Raising your children alongside strong women is an incredibly bonding experience. That's been my own experience. And I've relied on those friendships so heavily over the last decade plus. And I think you're going to see these two women who are already best friends lean on each other even more as they, journey through this next chapter of their life of being moms and raising these two young children.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Lily's my favorite. Oh, roses. There's a tradition in our family. When it's getting closer and the baby is almost here, that's when we get word to each other to all light our candles and keep them lit until there's a new little child in the world. So you know you're not alone.
I think Natasha's done a really beautiful job because, Natasha's a wonderful, incredible human, but Minnie is a definite character that she's created,
Yeah.
It's not just like Natasha showing up and being Natasha. She's done an actor's job of really putting together a complex, rich, deep character. It's virtually, as a fellow actor, I always watch her going, oh gosh, oh goodness, oh, that's so good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it change when you're acting across from somebody like that? Does it change how you're acting?
Well, sometimes I get distracted as an actor in a scene. Sometimes I'm in a scene with someone and they're doing something so wonderful from an acting point of view that sometimes I'm like, oh, right, Johanna, you've got to stay in the scene as your character because Johanna is like, that's such a, oh God, that's so good,
Yeah.
And then I have to be like, you're Molly, stop, stay in the, stay focused. Yeah.
So for you, for your character, for a storyline, is there a storyline that you'd like to see show up in future episodes or seasons?
Well, one of the storylines I was definitely hoping for is in season 10. So that's very exciting. I can't wait to share that.
Okay.
Yeah. As far as future seasons, I definitely have some ideas, and we shall see if they come to pass. Our current showrunner is lovely and really open to collaborating and really open to our ideas. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, we're excited to see it. We're excited to see the rest of season 10.
Yes.
Thanks for joining me
My
again.
pleasure. Thanks for having me.
The ladies of the town have such a strong connection, but that sense of community, it's not just limited to the women. This season, we've seen the men step up to support each other and the town in a big way, especially the character of Lucas. Let's take a look.
What will it take to make this all go away? Inform the judge you've reconsidered the veracity of the charges. Henry Gowan walks a free man. And you're on the next train out of Hope Valley. Well, that doesn't leave me much time to pack. So I will be off.
Back in Hope Valley, and right away, we see the heart of Lucas. He's already stepping up to help in a big way. Why do you think he cares so much about the town?
I think Lucas spent a long time traveling around, spending time in different parts of the world and wanting to find a space to settle down, and he feels that with Hope Valley, so he has a deeper connection to that place. I like that the whole town is doing that together as well. He's not the only one. I feel like everyone's trying in their own way.
Why do you think he doesn't advertise what he's doing?
I don't feel he needs to draw any attention to himself. There's no one that he's trying to impress in any way or get anything out of anybody in any way. He just cares about the space, and he's happy to do it quietly, help where how he can.
You said he was traveled around a lot, and he is a man of many talents and languages.
Right.
Let's take a look.
It's hard to believe how far we've come in just a few months.
I know. It's amazing. But there's more to life than work. My grandmother used to always say, mange bien, ris souvent, aime beaucoup.
I need to dust up on my French.
Eat well, laugh often, love much. Now I have to get back to work. I'm doing something.
Doing what?
It's a surprise.
The philosophy that Lucas just said, eat well, laugh often, and love much. Is that something you subscribe to in your life?
I definitely eat well, and I do spend a lot of time laughing. What was the third one? I forgot.
Eat well, laugh often, and love much.
Oh, yeah. I agree with all three of those things.
Because Lucas likes to do so many surprises, what do you think his love language is?
That's funny you should mention that. I was having a conversation the other day about love languages.
Really?
And, about my dog, Charlie.
Oh.
Hers is definitely physical touch.
Really? Do you think animals have love languages?
Well, I like to think mine do.
Yeah.
Bowie's is food. and Charlie's is physical touch.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think Lucas is acts of service and gifts. I think those two things, they strike a chord with him for whatever reason. That's how he likes to express his care for other people.
Does that cross over to you? Do you have a connection there with Lucas?
It can. I like to give gifts, and then I feel like I think I'm good at giving gifts, and then I reflect back afterwards and realize I'm really not. So it's something I have to work on.
Why? What do you wait? Because we give gifts that you would like, or?
Well, one time I did give my dad a video game when I was maybe 13. I bought him GoldenEye for Nintendo 64 for Christmas. That was for me.
Very sweet. Just the fact that you bought him a gift.
He played it a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's just because something that I think is witty or clever or fun. I kind of go down my own tunnel vision.
Yeah.
With that concept, and then later in a more wide context, I think, what was I thinking doing that? That was kind of silly.
As much as I know you, I think you're acts of service, because I feel like you like to entertain. I mean, just the fact that you do those charcuterie boards, and I mean, you put a lot of effort into that, and that's not just for yourself.
No, it's not. Yeah, you're right. I enjoy cooking, and reminds me of Kevin, because we've had conversations about this before, and he says, that's how I show love and affection. I cook, and I share that with him. I understand what he means, and I love having family and friends over and doing big meals, and I guess it just feels kind of natural. It's the natural inclination.
What's all this?
Well, while Gustav was making the cake for the shower, I asked if he would also make one of our grandmother's recipes.
This season, you're planning the wedding. Did you and Aaron get to talk about that ahead of time, or is it just completely up to the writers as far as planning those details?
There are times where our opinions are asked, but no, not in that case.
A lot of the scenes you guys do are 2-3 people. Although actually in season 10, I think there are going to be quite a few large scenes where people are together. Does that change the dynamic?
It just makes it more fun, I think. There's a few times each season where everyone's all together, the cast are all here, oftentimes being an evening scene, a night scene. And so it's enjoyable we get to congregate and hang out and sort of take over one of the outside spaces or whatever, and usually be told to be quiet fairly often because we all enjoy each other's company. But yeah, I would say it's something that we look forward to. Don't always look forward to if we're going, late and it's Friday night and it's 3 a.m. and everyone's tired and wants to go home. But on the other hand, having all those people together is fun and special, and yeah, we look forward to it.
Do you feel like your relationships have changed since you first came on the show?
Oh, sure, yeah, just like anyone's would. When you have a cast that's so big and you have people with such different personalities, it's rarely the case that everyone kind of gets along and is friendly and great with each other. And we have that here. Yes, I've gotten to know everybody better, and things have changed in that way. But really, I've just got to spend time with good people for 6 years.
Well, we love watching you guys on screen. We love seeing the connection off screen, through social media, and we appreciate what you guys do. And I hope you'll join me again for another episode later in the season.
Hey, I'm here for the next 4.5 months. So.
Okay. I'm going to take you up on it.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
And that concludes our program. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to all the people that helped make this possible. And we'll see you next time on the Super Channel Heart and Home After Show.